Hello everyone, finally another devlog. We have a new build ready. People with testing key should be able to access it on Steam. It takes longer than expected, but fortunately we fixed the crash causing issue, so the game should be stable now. The only flaw after fixing is the game might start up slower. That is because we stored a lot of loaded data on RAM back then, so the game loads everything faster, but it couldn't empty the cache, therefore leading to RAM overload and crash. It happened a lot when you encounter the first boss. Nevertheless, the problem is solved now. The story progress in this build is same as previous one. It's a demo build after all. It would be better to have finished the game with rest of the story presented together. For our current progress, we have finished the baseball team chapter, apart from some unfinished mob enemies, and another new chapter is halfway done. We also added another area which you can explore in this new build, although there aren't many things to interact with. There are other new things we added in this build. Here's a list of what these are. More pedestrian NPC types on the street, and you can beat them like usual. More breakable objects variations, and we placed those objects nearly all over the game. The newly added area is still empty because we forgot to do the editing. Apart from the normal breakables you can smash, we also plan to add exploding breakables so it can create environmental hazards. Enemy spawn is overhauled. There's a pattern in enemy spawn, such as more enemy spawns in the midnight. Enemy mixed in pedestrian will not attack you unless you do first. The in-game economy are reworked. Things like skills, EXP and money drop amounts, item drops and rates, shop item prices and listing, mob difficulties, and bus fare are all balanced in order to provide a better gameplay, but more tweaks are expected in future upon feedback. Map UI is reworked too. You can now view what facilities in each level and current mission goal directly. As for what we are going to work on next, here's another list. Our first priority is to keep working on new story chapter and its assets such as raid levels, mobs, characters, and etc. We will add more pedestrian NPC types, but this one is in lower priority. We will also add more enemy mob NPCs and reskins to make each raid level unique and fresh. Also more options in raid level buff shop. The current buff shop is extremely empty. Not many choices to choose from, so we would like to expand that. Also, more room types in raid level. We'll try to achieve this one in more efficient and smart way. To affect main storyline works, there will be breakable cars as well, like the ones in Street Fighter and Final Fight. We'll make improvement on tutorial and gameplay guidance, maybe using side quests to guide player to participate in minigame and other activities. Also adding the main NPCs to the game for interactions. For example, player can always find Anna when you activate the main story mission. Julie will appear in player home for random dialogue, or she can also be in school or other places. Other main NPCs just to make the game more alive. We also want to give each student club a function after you clear the mission. Next, AI NPC teammate. We have someone working on this at the moment. This feature is binding with the message feature, which also leads to dating, romance, and affinity related parts. Since this one is one of the main features of this game, we'll work on this between the story chapters. Finally, there are also gameplay changes to be made. We want to change the weekdays to number of days instead. We decided to do this for two reasons. The first one is with the current game style and time schedule, it's out of our capability to differentiate the game in weekdays, such as design all the characters' routine each day and all the time blocks. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but just way too much work compared to our manpowers right now. Second reason is since we cannot even differentiate the weekday and weekend, this thing is rather useless now, so it might be better to just get rid of it. And I personally think using number of days is good for player to keep track of how many days pass in game. I would also like to share with you a small update of our production timetable. We're aiming to finish this current chapter, which is in the highest priority, somewhere mid-November. Then we will take a small break to work on features mentioned earlier other than story chapters, probably 1 or 2 weeks. Then we plan to finish another chapter around the new year. By that point, we will only have one bigger chapter and final boss level left. Hopefully we can finish the rest of the story within 3 months. That is why we set the release time on April. Although minor changes are expected, but we are getting there. Of course, that is only for early access release. We also have another story road, side quest, other playable character we promised to deliver, and extra gameplay we want to add to the game. Before we finish, here are some questions I would like to ask for your opinion. The first one is time forward feature. At the moment, you can move forward time anytime you like, apart from inside the raid map. Do you think it's better to remove this and instead only allow player to forward time in specific place, like a unique looking bench or something? The second question is, do you think this game needs a feature to allow player to teleport back to player home in any time and location? If yes, then do you want it to be consumable item with limited use, but you can always buy them in the shop? Or a skill-like function with unlimited use? We would be grateful if we could know what you think on these questions. That would be all for this devlog. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.